Looking ahead, looking ahead, what is something you're excited about life right now? I know you have gone through grieving, and your wife died a few months back, but life has to continue, right? And we want to hear from you, from your uh, tender feeling right now. What are you still excited to work on?
Well, um, today I just sent my letter or parang announcement of retirement.
Oh.
This is because right now I'm working for University of Utah as the facilities coordinator since 2017.
Mm.
So I'll be turning 10 years na sa
Oh,
February. And then the same time, I'll be 67 na rin.
mountain. Welcome,
So,
Joel.
hi. Thank you for having me.
All right. First off, Joel. Who is Joel Ilagan?
Joel Ilagan was born and raised sa Manila. I was born in Sampaloc, Manila. Um, yung parents ko were Jovencio Ilagan Sr. My mom is Zenaida, or known as Zeni Ilagan. And then we we lived, we started in Baclaran, and then during my elementary, my siblings and I went to Cabuyao, Laguna,
Mm.
and there doon ako nag-elementary, yung 6 years na yon. And then after I graduated elementary, we moved back to Manila. Doon naman ako nag-aral ng high school sa Ermita Catholic School. So I have 6 brothers and sisters, 2 brothers and 4 sisters. I'm third among them. Um, and yeah, so what else
All
do you
right.
want to know?
Thank you for that short introduction, Joel. So let's before we'll dive into some interesting topic, let's go back to your childhood, as far as you could remember. Any reflection on growing up somewhere in somewhere in Manila? You said galing kayo sa Manila and then bumalik kayo sa paano kayo
Laguna.
napunta? Alam ko Paranaque kayo or
Well, yung Parañaque, actually Pasay.
Pasay, yeah, Pasay, yeah.
Yeah, Pasay. Pero nung elementary years, my lolo and lola on my mom's side, taga Cabuyao yun eh.
Mm.
Kaya we ended up moving there while my parents were working sa Manila. So
Mm.
sumama kami sa mga grandparents ko doon. And then nung medyo maluwag na, we were able to afford to rent a home sa Ermita. That's the time everybody moved back to Manila.
Mm. Okay. So, growing up in Manila, I know it's a different Manila before than what we have
So
right now, where they have this flooding and garbage and everything. But ano po yung naalala nyo na mga good memories sa growing up sa Manila?
not much dahil nung nakatira kami doon sa Ermita, that was the time when martial law was declared.
Mhm.
Medyo ano kami doon eh, medyo restricted kami doon sa bahay lamang. And
Mhm.
then of course, the environment doon sa lugar na yon is not that safe pa naman. Kaya malapit doon sa lugar na tinitirahan namin before was the red district yun eh. So
Mhm.
medyo parents ko doon. Eventually after that, siguro in my second year in high school, that's the time we moved to Pasay City.
Mm.
Sa Concepcion Street, malapit sa Harrison and Rojas Boulevard. And that's where missionary attracted us.
Mm. Okay, balikan natin muna before we'll talk about your conversion story. Yung family name na Ilagan, saan po galing yun?
Ilagan is originally from Cavite,
Mm.
Cavite City. My lolo was born and raised in Cavite City. Same thing with my dad. And then we found out later as we work on our family history, nalaman namin na if you during the time of Emilio Aguinaldo when he started
Revolutionary.
leading yung government na yon, my great grandfather, his name is Hugo Ilagan from Indang, Cavite.
Okay.
He was the first finance secretary under Emilio Aguinaldo.
Mm.
Kaya Ilagan. And there's more Ilagan sa Tarlac. We found more Ilagan in Batangas. So basically they are Tagalog. Talagang mga Tagalog region.
Yes. Meron kaming Ilagan sa Davao. They're also prominent. Parang mga Tagalog din sila eh. But anyway, let's move forward. I mean, let's shift gear dito ngayon sa you went on a mission at age 20 or 19?
19. Well, I turned 19 noong May of 1979, but I didn't leave until November. So it was about 6 months preparation. Nag-work pa ako noon to save some money, ganon. I worked under President Ruben Gapis sa kanyang advertising company pinagtatrabaho niya doon sa Makati, just to save some money for my mission. And then when November, that's the time I left for Philippines Davao mission.
Hindi naman natin pinagkailan na pag sinabi mo yung Ilagan, siyempre you're parang ma-associate kagad ka sa father mo, no, na very once a pioneer leader sa Philippines. Ano po yung mga naalala mo sa kanya na parang stepping up as an Ilagan para you could be a good example?
Yeah, my dad was really he's a good father. That's one thing. Second, he is very not strict, but morally guided kami noon when it comes to a lot of things. Although, bago kami nabinyagan, my mom and my dad, they smoke cigarettes. My dad, he drink beer, tsaka po ng mga other hard liquors. Naalala ko lang yung mga ganun, but he's a good person. He's a good man. He raised up a great man. So of course, when we joined the church in 1977, I think 76.
How old are you then?
Yeah, it was 1976. It was July. Nung last month, July 3, I mean 50th anniversary sa church.
Okay.
The time na realize namin na we've been in the church for 50 years now.
Ilang taong ka noon nung nabinyagan ka?
Oh, I was 16. I was 16 years old.
Okay, so parang adult ka na pala noon. You're going college na or nasa college ka na noon.
Yeah, well, we just almost gagraduate na ako nung high school noon eh. Nung sa church. Yeah.
So, yung conversion mo ba is ano yon, yung parang dahil tinuruan kayo as family or you have your own separate testimony of the gospel?
That's the funny part of our conversion. No? It was uh, it was Sister Delia Anderson, and a Filipina missionary who trusted us. Actually, the first meeting namin doon, the sister missionaries knocked at our door sa Pasay, sa Concepcion Street. Um, Ako pa yung nag-open ng door eh. And then, of course, the first time I met a Mormon missionary at that time. So, hinanap yung parents ko. Tinawag kay mami ko. And then later, I found out that meron na kaming appointment with the missionaries. And then, since then, we started uh, listening sa mga discussions. And then, afterward, my parents decided to be baptized. So, nung sinabi nila sa amin yun, okay, sabi sa amin, we decided to join this church. Sabi namin okay, kami naman hindi totally converted during that time. Sabi lang ng aming kuya, si Jojo, sabi niya, well, mag-join ka, sama na lang kami, whatever, gano'n lang kami. And then, nabinyagan kami, there was
Okay, nabinyagan.
in Bendia Chapel.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Bendia Chapel. Nung nabinyagan kami, I remember really very, very clearly, and I won't forget this. There was about 70 or more baptism on that day.
Whoa.
Ang isang family na talagang di ko makakalimutan kasama namin doon, the Godito family.
Godito family, yeah.
Yeah, we were baptized in the same day. So I remember, so it's so big. So ang naging namin during the program, they were going to announce, okay, this number of people will go to the baptismal font, baptize, while we wait. So we waited for about siguro mga 10-15 minutes, and then another group. Matagal na kami natapos noon kasi may confirmation pa, may mga ano pa. So it was a big group. Most of them are from Cavite, because I remember this, I think Samoan missionary, he's big and talaga pero yung smile niya very contagious, napakabait. He was the one who brought a lot of baptism that day.
So you were baptized at the same time as family, or parang batches?
Kami, well, yeah, the whole family except for our youngest, which is Jennifer, si Jenny. She was only 6 years old then. Kaya naghintay pa siya turn ng 8 bago pa siya nabinyagan.
Yeah. Actually, tatlo lang ang medyo kilala ko sa inyo. Ikaw, si Joyce, na naging kasama ko sa Buhangin Stake. Right after I went home in my mission, we were together in a committee. So ako yung parang high council assigned sa activities committee chairman. So doon ko nakilala si Joyce. Nakatira sila sa Lasang pa. I don't know, remember niya ako.
Lasang.
Yeah, sa Lasang. And then si Joby. And then si Joby na nagstay ng Davao for a while. And then, si Lisa. Yeah, kaibigan namin si Lisa. So, in fact, si Lisa yung dentist ko nung nag-apply ako ng mission. So, parang, I don't know paano nangyari yun. Basta, he was a student noon, dentist sa Davao Medical Foundation. And then, yun ang parang relationship namin ni Lisa hanggang nag-asawa sila right after our with Joby. So at least parang tatlo lang ang parang kilala ko sa inyong family. So balikan natin yung mission mo kasi doon tayo nagkakilala eh. Ano mga areas mo sa Davao Mission? Umalala mo pa?
November, I went out on my mission of 1979. My first area was Marbel, Coronadal. I was there for 3 months. And that is where I baptized Sister J, or Sister Habaluyas, if you know her. No? Dun siya yung isa sa mga converts namin doon sa Marbel. That's where also the Barrientos family, naging very close ako doon. So after that, I was transferred to, I think it was in Panabo.
Mhm.
After that, Panabo, and that was my companion, si Elder Rydalch.
Oh, yeah,
If you
right out.
remember. Yeah.
Do you happen to know about him lately? Wala na.
Na earlier when I moved dito sa Los
US.
Angeles, I tried to contact him. No, actually, my first time ko pumunta dito was dito sa Salt Lake City. Was I was working for the church educational system, and then kinontak ko siya. Nag-meet kami, dinala niya, nag-dinner kami
Mm.
sa bahay niya, na-meet ko yung family niya. Then after that, wala na. But we're still friends sa Facebook.
Siya ba yung taga-Idaho?
Dati siyang taga-Idaho. Pero
Mm.
I think he lives now somewhere in Roy or
Oh,
northern ng Salt Lake City. I don't know if kung nandun pa
kasi
rin
meron
siya.
kaming kawal dito sa Springville, Matt Rydalch din, and from Idaho din. Kaya nung kinonect ko siya, di man yan wala siyang kilala na na-assign sa Philippines. So probably that would be your uncle or something because you have the same name, Matt Rydalch. Anyway, nakailang buwan kayo sa Panabo at sino-sino yung nabinyagan nyo doon?
Panabo naman, yung pinaka golden family ko doon are the Habilios.
Oh, shout
Yeah,
out
sila yung,
natin mga Abilio.
oo, na nandito pa rin. Kontak ko pa nga yung ano isa sa mga Habilio girls.
Okay.
Then yung, na-meet ko rin yung anak ni, I don't remember meeting yung isang anak nilang lalaki na
Okay.
nakapag-asawa na
Nandito
taga
sa sa Texas.
sa Texas ba? And
Oo.
then dito na yung anak niya, and then I met them. They attended the Filipino group dito sa Meadvale, and that's how I met them. Yeah.
So, di mo malala, nakailang ano ka doon? Branch pa kami doon or ward na ba?
No, branch pa. I remember we were staying in this apartment, parang bowlingan yun eh. And then yung baba yata bowlingan, pero we were living at the second floor with Elder Brock.
OWA.
Si Awag Brock, at tapos si Elder
Yeah.
Vidal. And then,
Okay.
tapos yung apartment namin, wala kaming water. Wala kaming water doon.
Sino ba may tubig noon? Wala pang tubig noon eh.
Yes.
Kaya kami diskarte noon eh.
So we were forced to shower in the evening across the street. Meron doon parang spring water na lumalabas doon. We make sure na madilim na. Pupunta kami doon, naka-shorts lang kami, tsaka nakatuwalya. Panilig, isang Australian, isang Amerikano, tapos who else were there? I can't remember them.
Si Brock ba naging companion mo or ano lang kayo, isang housemate lang kayo?
Yeah, he actually was my companion first dun sa Panabo. Then he was transferred, and then Elder Rydalch came. Oh, I remember Elder Denton Haight.
Oh, yeah, Haight.
Elder, he's from Australia. Funny guy. I can't remember his last name. But ako lang yung Pilipino doon, so we take shower yung namin doon lang across the street. Din ang aming buhay noon. And then how else? I remember it was President Rosal who was the branch president then.
Branch president, yeah.
Si President Rosal. And then I remember when we were teaching the Habilios, it was only the mom and the girls. Si Brother Habilio, medyo na-late siya ng baptism dahil nga yung kanyang condition. But eventually, before I was transferred out, nabinyagan namin sila doon. Kasi nung baptism nila ng mga ni Sister Bilio and the girls, doon kami sa Buhangin. Punta
Mm,
for baptism. Pero for Brother Habilio, doon kami sa dagat.
dagat
Malapit
na.
doon sa nung merong fish pond. Uh,
Kaknyo.
new. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Doon kami nag-ano ng baptism. So yeah. Fun memory. I remember your sister, siya yung nasa bangko no, nagwo-work.
Oh, si
Every
Jane.
time si Jane, oh, every time we get our check from the mission office, kasi ano yun eh, uh, hindi ka pwedeng gumamit ng ano mo, pocket money or ano. So yung check na pinapadala sa amin, we went to the bank where Jane is, automatic, ano kagad yun. Nakakash kagad namin yung check.
All right.
Yeah.
Si Brock actually I was in contact with him nung nandun ako sa Sweden. Nasa ano siya sa Denmark. So siya yung nagsundo sa akin doon. Through ano pa rin, yung ganitong connection na, mga former missionaries, ganun. And nag-aral ako doon. And from during weekend, pupunta ako sa bahay nila. And then, yun
Oh,
yung parang nagkaroon din kami ng connection. Kaya hanggang ngayon, sa Facebook, nag-ano pa rin kami, nag-uusap.
yeah. Yeah. Minsan he dropped some hello and kamusta when my
Yes, yes.
away. He sent me some messages as well.
Okay, so paano ka nagtapos ng mission mo? At saang area?
Well, after Panabo, I was assigned to Kidapawan.
Mm.
Uh, no, I'm sorry, Mati, and then from Mati to Kidapawan. Then that's where I became a district leader. Then from Kidapawan to Zamboanga, where I worked there for 6 months.
Mm.
Then from Zamboanga to Butuan, and then from Butuan to Davao, and that's where I ended my mission.
So parang
Uh,
naano mo rin pala, na-cover mo din pala yung the whole Mindanao, no?
South, North,
Yeah,
yeah,
West.
I was in Mati, I was in uh, South Coronadal.
Yeah. So nung umuwi ka ng mission, you went straight to the school or nag-work ka? Ano
Yes.
ba yung post-mission life mo?
Well, ito nakakatawa yung aking college life. No? Before my mission, after my graduation in high school, hindi ako nakaabot sa UST. I was planning to take architecture nga sa UST,
Ah,
pero mabilis close kagad sila. So there was our friend in the ward sa Pasay, yung sister niya nagwo-work sa Philippine Women's University. So I ended
mm.
up enrolling sa fine arts,
Okay.
women's. Then nandun ako for 1 year, and then after that, sabi ko, punta kagad ako ng UST. Same thing. Sabi niya, close na architecture. Pero kung
Uh-huh.
fine arts ka, why don't you enroll sa fine arts? So I ended up taking fine arts sa UST.
Mm.
And when after that, because I was 17, 8, tapos nung 19, that's the time I decided to go for my mission. So
Mm.
after ng graduation, I left for mission. So after my mission, pagbalik ko, late na ako noon eh. I came back November. So
November langanin sa semester.
alanganin. So I ended up enrolling sa Far Eastern University kasi yung
Mm.
sister ko, si Joyce, she was a varsity player ng volleyball sa FEU.
Mm.
Kakilala niya yung sa registrar. Sabi niya, so pakiusapan. So I was able to get sa architecture sa FEU, and that's where I finished my architecture.
So from Pasay to umuwi ka niyan o nagdo-dorm ka sa Manila?
Well, when we were in Pasay, from the time we joined the church, pero when I left from my mission, during nung nasa mission ako, lumipat ng bahay ang family ko to Las
Mm.
Piñas.
Las Piñas.
So when I came back, nasa Las Piñas na yung family ko.
Mm.
Pero yeah.
So sa FEU ka na pala nagtapos. So paano ka napasok sa sa CES? You were with CES, right?
Yes, I did. So while I was trying to complete my architectural credits, that's a time, kasi pag-uwi ko ng mission noong 1981, November, that's where I met Patrick Clare. Si Patrick Clare yung Institute Director sa
Director sa
Manila.
Manila.
Yeah, they were still renting yung rooms, mga offices sa third floor, I think, ng Doña Conje building. So wala pa yung MIR building noong araw. Doon kami sa Doña Conje, which is right across ng PRC.
Yeah.
Katapat lang siya noon.
Yeah,
pagbaba mo, PRC na, ganon. So doon kami for siguro a couple of years. And the church purchased the property at the back, which is in Arpapa. Doon ngayon, habang nandun kami, kinonstruct naman yung institute building, which is they started like a chapel lang muna. So shared kami ng mga wards at the same time, yung second floor, yun ang mga naman.
Naging familiar ako dyan na area. Naging familiar ako dyan na area dahil nung nagturo ako sa FEU. Dyan ako, mahirap kumuha ng parking eh. Kinaibigan ko yung guard doon. Sabi ko, boss, pwede ako makipark dito. Member naman ako ng Fairview eh. Kaya naging tawag nito, maging convenient yung pagtuturo ko sa FEU dahil may parking lot ako daan sa MIR.
Malaking bagay yung Arpapa dahil marami talagang nakikiusap na makipark doon. But when I was there, nung pagka-graduate, hindi pa ako graduate noon, I remember si Bien Flores, who was the area director in the Philippines, invited me to teach part-time doon sa MIR. Hanggang sabi lang sa akin, if you finished your course mo, then if you decided to join CES, which I did, immediately after graduation, saka
okay. Kaya pala hindi mo na nagamit yung architecture mo?
No, hindi na. Parang kinuha ko na lang yun para lang ma-meet ko yung requirement ng CES to become a full-time CES man.
So, kindly narrate to us your leadership experience, Joel.
First, my pinaka-major leadership assignments ko sa church was when I became counselor in the bishopric in Las Piñas. Then when I got married, then I was called as a bishop. And then after that, I think I remember. Oh no! After that, I moved to Cavite. I was released. That's the time I became naman counselor in the stake presidency under Danilo Soleta. And then from there, I think we stayed there for about 3 years in Cavite. That's the time we moved to Lucena, where because of my work, my assignment, there I became a counselor in the branch presidency, eventually became a branch president. And then when ma-create yung Las Piñas stake, then I became the first counselor sa stake presidency. Then after that, then when CES called me back to Manila, I got released. Then I worked as a high councilman doon sa Las Piñas stake under Tony Lantada. At after that, when Tony Tantada got released, dahil nag-move out sila, then I was called the stake president.
Mm,
Las Piñas stake. Then from there, um, that was the time when we decided to move to Los Angeles,
mm,
the entire family. Yeah.
okay.
Then nung nandito na kami sa Los Angeles, then I was called as a counselor in the bishopric
Mhm,
sa sa Norwalk Ward sa Southern California. And then after that, I was called as a high councilman sa stake doon sa California. And after that, when I worked doon sa Southwest Airlines, that was the time I moved to uh, dito sa Utah,
okay.
2014 when I left. That was after my divorced sa ano.
Mm.
Mm.
So from Manila, uh, what triggered you to or decide for you to come over to America? Is it once your childhood dream na, Amerika,
Well,
punta tayo ng Amerika.
yeah, actually maraming mga downtime na nangyari sa family namin where we decided na it's time for us to leave, to go to LA dahil ang parents ko nandito na, mga
Mm,
kapatid ko, karamihan sa kanila nandito na rin. And that's the time we decided na siguro it's about time. Mga bata pa yung mga anak namin nun. So
mm,
when we moved to LA, that was 2003. Um, that was a time where um, maraming mga, of course, maraming pagsubok, maraming mga trials, ups and downs. So, ibang buhay dito sa Amerika noong time na
yes.
yon. And then that's the time when I had our opportunity to get yung job. That was my first job was at Southwest Airlines as a customer service agent from 2008. No, nag-start ako noong 2008 and then 2014 when I moved to Utah.
Okay. All right. So uh, maybe this could be our last segment of our interview. Looking ahead, looking ahead, what is something you're excited about life right now? I know you have gone through grieving, and your wife died a few months back, but life has to continue, right? And we want to hear from you, from your uh, tender feeling right now. What are you still excited to work on?
Well, um, today I just sent my letter or parang announcement of retirement.
Oh,
Because right now I'm working for University of Utah as the facilities coordinator since 2017.
mm.
So I'll be turning 10 years na sa
Oh,
February. And then the same time, I'll be 67 na rin. So,
oh,
minutes ko na yung parang pinaka-full age ano ng retirement.
retirement.
So, just like what you said, my wife, si Margarita, of course, I always call her Gigi or Honey, passed away dahil nga sa uterus cancer last December. It was kind of hard, living by myself here in Eagle Mountain. Para bang siguro it's about time for me to move on. Um, wala pa namang definite decision what to do, but parang inaano ko pa rin, if ever I'll be going back to California to be with my grandchildren who are there now, or I could stay here and then just travel back and forth because I love Utah. I fell in love with it, you know, and in of course financially, palagay ko mas mabubuhay ako dito sa sa Utah. But some of the things that I wanted to do is probably visit the Philippines more often. Siguro napakaraming din akong kaibigan doon, maraming mga unfinished business na dapat ka sigurong ayusin din doon. So I don't know yet kung ano mga other things. But at this time, saka isa pang pinaghahandaan ko and hopefully which is one of our dreams ng wife ko si Gigi, to work as volunteer doon sa celebration of Temple Open House. So tendered my application na hopefully matanggap ako to become one of the volunteers doon sa opening. So
Yeah, that's for
Yeah.
next year or next 6 months. So at least that would give you a busy schedule, no? And you know, so is there anything more, Joel, you want to share that I haven't asked you or haven't talked about? Is there anything like counsel to our friends who are also in in the places like where you are right now, being a widower, no? I mean, that could happen to anybody. Walang exemption yan eh.
Yeah. Well, one thing I found out is that it's not easy na masabi mong nandito ka sa Amerika. Of course, a lot of our Filipino friends, families back home, inisip nila, oh, pag nasa Amerika ka, maganda buhay mo, everything. It's not. It's not. It's also a struggle. Marami nagsasabi kung masipag ka, you can survive. If not, you have a positive attitude sa mga bagay, mga challenges dito. It's not easy. It's difficult to be here. But ang kagandahan lang dito is that marami akong family supports, marami akong friends around who helped. They've given us the opportunity para ma-meet mo yung aming mga ganitong klaseng goals. When I married Gigi, we were married in Salt Lake Temple, and that were our dream. Kaya isa sa mga bagay na promise ko sa kanya is I'll keep working para kasi ang goal na talaga namin makapag-mission sa Philippines. I don't know yet if that will work out kung ako lang mag-isa. I think pwede. Depende kung ano man yung opportunities na darating. Pero those are the things na inaano ko. But something that you just remember, just hold on with your faith, yung testimony mo. Make sure that you don't have the borrowed testimony na doon ka lang umaasa. Create your own testimony of the church and how it will help you. It helped me a lot, understanding ko. Maraming mga friends ko, mga families ko when namatay yung wife ko, they kept telling me na, we understand kung ano yung plan of salvation, makikita natin sila, we'll be with them again. And those I know, perfect knowledge. Kaya lang, iba yung when you miss the person.
Yes.
Kaya, just create opportunities habang nabubuhay yung families niyo, especially your spouse, your children, ay mga bata habang meron kayong opportunity to spend time with your parents, just take take time with them. You know, we lost our parents years ago. You know, mga ulila na rin kami sa mga magulang, just like you. Mahirap pagka ganun nawawala na sila. Start na miss mo silang lahat. So yeah, that's it.
All right. On that note, thank you so much, Joel, for gracing my podcast. And hope and pray for, how would I say, for better opportunities no, ahead of you, in spite of the fact that you are working alone, you're living alone, but you have your family, sabi mo nga, you have your friends, and you have your loved ones. So thank you, Joel.
Thank you again. Thank you for having me. It's an honor. Thank you.